gentlemen, to the first edition of our debate table. With me are my Eagles companion fan, Mr. Jose Gamino, my Denver Broncos fan, Mr. John Thor,
United in orange.
and I am your host, Eddie. And today we're going to be talking about a certain variety of topics going out in the NFL world. First thing we're going to talk about, gentlemen, is recapping what just happened this week. First game we got to cover, Saints and Seahawks. Was it a surprise to see the results?
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
Playing in Seattle, you have the noise factor. I thought it would be a lot bigger weather factor, but
didn't happen. And so I looked at it and I said, you know what? Anything could happen. Arizona could do it. Why not New Orleans?
Mm-hmm.
New Orleans could do it too. So I didn't see a reason why not to do that. What did you expect to happen?
The same. No, I thought the Saints could pull up an upset because the past years that's what's been happening. That like the wildcard teams have gone on to beat the number one team. Yeah, but I thought the Saints were gonna win the Seahawks, but like it's too hard. The Seahawks and in that stadium and everything is just hard.
It's a tough place to play, and so. But hey, the 49ers are playing this weekend, so we'll be looking forward to that too. So the next game on the AFC side, the Colts and the Patriots. When we looked at that game, the up-and-coming Andrew Luck, the old but still good and reliable Tom Brady. Going into that game, who did you guys feel was the better team, balanced team in that sense?
the Patriots, they're always good. They're playing at home. You gotta like them. But I was a Luck believer. I thought he could do it. Obviously not. When the defense gives up 44 points, then 43 was 43.
43-22 the final score.
You can't expect to win games like that. As good as Luck is, you can't put up 45 and then 44. It just doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, especially throwing
Four interceptions.
Three interceptions this past game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it happened against the Chiefs, but let's face it, the Chiefs suffered so many injuries that that was the factor that kind of sided towards Indianapolis. But of course, Andrew Luck is still a good quarterback. But I just think that at the same time, the Patriots at home are a tough team to beat for anybody. I think this season they're actually 8-0 at home. So for them, home field advantage meant something. And so for Andrew Luck, to go into that game, he was mentally prepared. He's already gotten a win at home. Now he's going on the road to New England, even with the rain factor going on as well. The same thing as in Seattle. So I don't think that actually factored much into the game at all. That the rain and everything going on, it was just secondary. It was just going on. It didn't matter at all. But in terms of what ended up happening, I personally did not expect that the Garrett Blount was going to be the guy scoring all the touchdowns.
No.
I personally thought it was just going to be Brady. And what do you know? Brady throws maybe like 150 yards, but ends up getting the Garrett Blount with, 4 total touchdowns.
4 touchdowns.
Stevan Ridley goes with 2 touchdowns, multiple 100-yard games. So that tells you how good their running defense was. And clearly the Patriots had a better running game. However, did you think that Donald Brown was going to be much more of a factor in that game? Than Blount or any other one of the Patriot running backs?
Yeah, because if you look at the Patriots, they lost Wilford is out for the season. Mayo is out. And I think that's only 2 big.
And that and Gronkowski on
there you go,
offense.
Gronkowski.
And the offensive line for the Patriots hasn't been healthy either. So, but looking at it on paper, just looking at that game, did you really believe that Andrew Luck could do it again? And no matter what the situation, that he could still pull it off with the team that he had? I mean, T.Y. Hilton is still a heck of a receiver. And so did we really think that was going to be much of a balanced game, or was it just completely one-sided?
It was one-sided.
One-sided?
Andrew Luck, he's young, he's good, but you got to give it to Tom Brady. He leads.
Do you think inexperience was the determining factor in that game?
Yeah, kind of, because it's his second year, right?
Mm.
His second year. And, no, you're playing against Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. It's hard.
Yeah, that's true.
When I look at it, I think the Colts really, on paper, they look better to me. But when you get down to it, Bill Belichick builds his teams, so if people do go down, there's the next guy to step up. That's why he's such a legendary coach. He can make it, so you lose Gronk, you lose Hernandez before the season, you lose
Walker going to Denver.
Walker coming to us, You lose everybody on offense, and you don't think they have a chance to do what they do this season. But here they are, AFC Championship again.
And on the verge of making another Super Bowl. And, looking at it. Broncos fans for you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so the next game we want to talk about, the Niners and the Panthers. Was this one heading into that game clearly given to the Niners, or was it expected that, hey, Carolina's at home, they can do something? Because they did beat the Niners in San Francisco before. Did we think that it was one-sided all the way, or was it where we kind of thought, okay, it could go either way?
I thought the 49ers were going to beat them because week 10, I think it was the last rematch against the Panthers. They didn't have key players. They didn't have Vernon Davis, Crabtree, and Smith. And this past week, they did, and look at the difference. And plus, Cam Newton, he's not experienced. He's a good quarterback, but playoff experience, he doesn't have that. And then he doesn't have that, he has a good, decent offense, but it's not that great. You got a 33-year-old Steve Smith. I don't know how old is he, but still, it's 49ers. That's what I thought.
I thought so too, personally. I looked at what the 49ers were bringing into that game. Of course, if I have to pick between Colin Kaepernick and Cam Newton, of course I would go with Cam Newton. But Colin Kaepernick has the playoff experience. He already has the wins. He went to the Super Bowl last year. Now, am I going to say he took the team to the Super Bowl? Not all the way, but he did have a great season, and he was definitely a factor in that game in the previous season. So I personally think that the 49ers look better on paper. Their defense looks a lot more balanced than what Carolina does. Carolina has a heck of a defense, but I still think he's still got to keep the players, and especially on offense with all those receivers, Bolden, Crabtree coming back, Vernon Davis, and the running back with Frank Gore and Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. That's plenty of a load to handle for anybody. So I think I was going to go 49ers as well. But what were you doing?
Looking at it, I thought this was the biggest coin toss game in my opinion. Cam Newton can come out any given week and run the shit out of you, run you to death, and he can do that any given week. He can throw the ball. He's a great arm, but you go back to that experience piece, like you guys are saying, with the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, he's played plenty of playoff games. He's played in the Super Bowl. So, if I had to lean one way, it was towards San Francisco, but it was really
still up in the air a little bit.
Because, Carolina's a good team. And they showed they can be just about anybody's.
Exactly. The Broncos and the Chargers. When you, of course, are going to be going with the Broncos. When we looked at that game, did we really think that it was going to happen once again what happened a couple of weeks ago before when San Diego did it in Denver? Did you think that it was possible that the same thing could happen, or did you feel that now Denver was confident enough to say we're at home and we're going to pull it off?
Peyton Manning, he loses to the Chargers at home, but then you have all this video of why it happened. They were giving him disguise packages. He sees those now. It would have taken a lot out of the defensive coordinator of San Diego to come out and throw him off another time. Sure, they only scored 24 points, but it was enough
to actually win the game.
Yeah.
Omaha whole game. So that's been the key word of the league right now, that everybody's talking about how much Peyton Manning was saying Omaha in that game. And the problem is that Peyton Manning changes his play call every week. Every week he's changing his play call. So what Jose might mean this week can mean taco next week, or burrito, or donkey, or back, or something. Completely different words, and his team understands. He tells his team, this is what I'm saying to you. Understand. I'm sure Omaha changes every week, but he still says it a lot. People are like, that defense are mind blown. I personally don't think that there's been any other quarterback in NFL history that has been able to go to the line of scrimmage and see something of the defense and say, change, you, that, you, hey, guys, watch the coverage, this, that. I see Tom Brady doing, 52's a mic and, watch him and that, but not to the level Peyton Manning does. I mean, we're playing Madden on all Madden mode, and Peyton's changing a completely different play call, and you see players switching around, and your defense has no time to adjust.
Yeah. You know, during the game, I made some food, and Broncos had the ball, and then I hear the microwave beep, and I'm, okay, got to get my food, but I'm going to wait till after this play. Play clock, 35 seconds or so. Sitting there, watching, waiting, keeps changing the play, and he does it every time. He will milk that clock, he will look at the defense, he will do everything he can to figure you guys out.
Mm-hmm.
And usually he does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fact of the matter is he's a great quarterback.
Exactly.
He can read defenses.
He can.
And when San Diego came in, and after Woody Page says, you know, we got to bring back the old days in Mile High Stadium. We got to be as loud as we can. Don't let them hear a damn thing. And that's exactly what the fans of Mile High did. Their sports authority.
They were definitely a factor. And I mean, it is one of the highest capacity stadiums. I mean, as far as I've seen it's one of the largest stadiums in the nation.
Yeah.
So that definitely is a factor. But now, going back to it once again, they beat them before in Mile High. Did you think, Phil, that it could happen again? Or was it regular Phillip Rivers can't get it done kind of scenario?
Me, I was watching the game, and yeah, I thought Peyton Manning, because look at his past couple of playoffs, and
His
you know his
negative.
playoff record is negative.
Negative.
So yeah, I was like, nah, Chargers did it once, they can do it again. That's what I thought, but they barely escaped. Like it was a close game by 7 points. Yeah.
And that was also the fourth quarter comeback that they almost pulled it off.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was at work and I was watching it on Game Tracks, and you know it was what was it 24-3 or 24-7? It was
17-0, then I think.
Yeah.
17-7.
Yeah, something like that. That they started coming back, and I saw that in fourth quarter and that they already scored 17 points. To me, that was like, hang on, it's not over. But then suddenly, they just couldn't get it done. They called the time. I personally think they used their timeouts a little bit too early. They didn't get it done all the way.
That has to go with the noise.
Exactly.
They couldn't figure out what was going on.
Exactly. I just think this was a combination of everything that piled up. That's where eventually we just couldn't figure out what was going on. So, but hey, I mean, San Diego, I think they gotta be happy with the progress they made so far. With a whole bunch of rookies that they were playing with, Manti Te'o, Keenan Allen, all these guys that suddenly were actually great players. That turned out to be great players. Looking into the future, do we really think that San Diego is going to be a long-term contender, or was it just a lucky year?
That was a lucky year.
A lucky year?
Yeah.
They have some work to do, but I really think they can.
They can.
They can.
I mean, anything is possible.
Yeah,
I mean,
anything.
anything.
Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
No Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, but he's there. He's a good quarterback. He can lead a team. I hate how angry he gets all the time. But you know, that's just who he is. He's competitive, and he's going to figure out ways to win.
And I mean, he's done it in the past before, but unfortunately, has been criticized for not taking his team to the playoffs all the way. Even with the loaded teams that he used to have back in the mid 2000s, with LaDainian Tomlinson, with Vincent Jackson, Sean Merriman, Luis Castillo, Sean Phillips, Quentin Jammer, all those, Eric Weddle, all these guys that he used to have back in the day. You look at that on paper, you ask, how did you not win a Super Bowl? At that time, you got to realize that you were playing against the dynasty New England Patriots and against a very, very good Indianapolis Colts, who were always there. And when you guys landed him in free agency, we asked the question, is he going to be still the same Peyton Manning? And he's proven to us he's actually even better than he used to be. He's actually come out and be better than he used to be. So, but I definitely look forward to San Diego making much more better draft picks. I mean, they just with Keenan Allen and Manti Te'o on that defense, that's something. That's a start. I think that as build a foundation. Peyton Manning only has 2 more years to go in Denver. Let's face it. And as we look at it right now, Brock Osweiler's not the answer. I personally, I have seen Brock Osweiler play. I saw him play at Arizona State. He's a good athlete. I will give him that. He is a very talented athlete. However, I think just the fact that he doesn't have that Peyton mentality of I'm here.
But you got to look at it this way: if you're backing up a quarterback like Peyton Manning, and I think when the Broncos brought Peyton Manning in, they weren't just bringing him in to go win a Super Bowl. I mean, of course they were.
Yeah, but
at the
also
same
with the
time,
secondary consequences as well. That
you see, Brock Osweiler, he does have the athletic ability. So if Peyton Manning can teach him and show him the way around the team, maybe he can do it. It's hard to say. You can't tell until he gets out there and starts throwing the ball around.
Exactly. So I think we can get a good shot of that in the preseason next season, and see if he's actually going to be able to
See if
respond.
Coach Peyton is doing his job.
Yeah. See if Coach is doing his job. But I mean, I gotta say, I mean, Peyton is a good instructor. I mean, he's had a couple backup quarterbacks, but I mean, he's not. I think personally, he's a good coach. That eventually one day he might actually decide, hey, you know what, maybe a coach, offensive coordinator, something.
Quarterback coaching.
Quarterback coaching and something like that, or heck, maybe be a head coach in college or something. You might just go back and say, you know what, I just want to coach. I miss football a little bit. Let me coach. So anything's possible. Anything definitely is possible. So, well, that's the recap. Now let's go ahead and move on to our next section. We're going to go ahead and discuss what we think is going to happen this weekend. Okay, gentlemen?